नमस्ते, हेलो एवरीवन। मैं हूँ अपर्णा और आप हैं मेरे साथ अपनी बात में। आज मैं मिलने वाली हूँ एक खास मेहमान से, जिनका नाम है सलोनी नाहर। ये बहुत ही अच्छी स्टैंड अप कॉमेडी करती हैं। स्टैंड अप कॉमेडी में मैंने बहुत कम यंग लोगों को देखा है और आज इसके बारे में इनसे बहुत सी बातें होंगी। और यंग जैन ऑफ अमेरिका ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में बहुत ही एक्टिवली पार्टिसिपेट करती हैं और अपनी कम्युनिटी के लिए बहुत वॉलंटियर वर्क करती हैं। तो चलिए मिलते हैं सलोनी नाहर से। हाय सलोनी, हाउ आर यू?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks. Thank you for your time. You were so busy, I know, and finally we are meeting.
Mhm,
सबसे पहले I want to know about your stand-up comedy.
mhm.
आपको इंटरेस्ट आया उसमें?
Uh, yeah, I think so. I have, I started making YouTube videos when I was in high school, probably, or even maybe earlier, I don't know, but around that time. And when I first started making YouTube videos, I only posted piano covers because, I thought if anybody dislikes the video, it's because my piano playing is bad, not because they don't like me. But then I started experimenting with different kind of videos, and finally when I started doing comedy videos, that's
हम्म।
when I realized like I got more traction and more support. And I think with that, people or I would, it was suggested to me, maybe you should try stand up. So I think my natural, I guess, like voice comes out through comedy a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. So how many videos you have and where you go for that, like stand-up comedy programs you attend, or how you
So
do?
yeah, so there's a document for anybody who's interested in trying stand up in Chicago. There is a document. I'm not sure the last time it was updated, but it has every single open mic that's happening. So the great thing about stand up is it's super accessible. You can just go to the place where they have the mics and you can just put your name down and then you can try it. So there's a bunch of places all over the city of Chicago that have open mics and allow anybody to go up. And I actually started the first time I ever did stand up was virtually through an open mic that's free. Like so it was like this. It was over Zoom and it's less pressure because you don't have to be afraid of going up on a stage or just telling your jokes over Zoom.
कि आपकी जो कंटेंट रहता है वो किस तरह का रहता है, लाइक ह्यूमर, रियल रियल लाइफ पर, कॉलेज लाइफ पर, या फिर मोस्टली के कौन से सब्जेक्ट आप चूज करते
So I think my favorite comedy is the type of comedy that I do that it's very personal. So I try to make jokes based on observations in my own life or specific to my identity, especially because I think um with cancel culture, like comedians who try to make fun of other people or other groups, like that's not I don't think that's good comedy. So I like to rather make jokes on like, whatever's going on in my life or my personal like things about me.
हैं? आपके घर में भी कोई कॉमेडी करता है या यू आर द वन ओनली?
Well, I think everybody's funny.
या या
But but they don't realize or have the belief that they like if anybody makes me laugh or like if people make me laugh, I tell them, "Hey, have you ever considered stand up?" People are so shy. People will say no, like I only can make jokes in like conversation or I only can make jokes in like this kind of setting, but I don't think so. I think if I can do it, anybody can do it, and I hope that everybody has that.
you have older sister also. uh,
Mhm.
how about her? She sometimes like give you some suggestions, so she is also into this. No.
So, actually earlier this year I had a stand-up thing coming up and we were all at a friend's house. We were practicing a dance for a wedding, you know how it is. You have to so and in the middle of the dance practice, I said, like I'm going to try out some of my material because I have this performance coming up and yeah, she gave me feedback about like, "Oh, maybe you should talk more about like this kind of stuff." So, I think having people listen to your comedy and give you feedback is great because otherwise I mean, that all of comedy depends on if the other person's gonna laugh. So even if I think it's hilarious, if you don't, then we're not gonna we're not
Yeah.
gonna have any progress, you know? So feedback is a huge part about like comedy.
So you like online stand-up comedy or in person? Obviously, in person is always good, right?
Yeah, because I think part of stand up is also the energy and the ability to make eye contact with people.
Yeah.
And, you know, on Zoom, if there's multiple faces on the screen, it's hard for someone to know that you're looking at them. But in a room, you can specifically like look at someone, deliver some of it, and then, you know, I think that makes everyone feel more connected. But virtually is a good, it's there's less barrier to entry because to physically leave your house, go to a place, you know, wait for your turn, go on the stage. And you know, that's scary to some people, but instead if you try it in the comfort of your own home, at least you can see if your delivery or your jokes work. So I think it's a good place. It's good to start online if you're a little nervous about it, but I think the most fun happens in person.
ये जैन अमेरिका ऑर्गेनाइजेशन राइट उसमें बहुत एक्टिवली पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं कैन यू टेल अबाउट दैट समथिंग
Yeah, so Young Janes of America, Johei is for youth aged 14 to 29 who identify as Jain or come from a Jain background. I think growing up in this country, it's hard sometimes to stay connected to our heritage and our roots in India. So this organization is a great way to meet other Jain youth, and part of my involvement was to help plan, you know, events for us to come together. And like I planned a retreat with the help of other leaders in the organization. And I think that the coolest thing is that it's all youth led. So the people in charge of the organization are also the people who are of the youth age anyways, so it's a great way to kind of give back to the community and meet other Janes because uh like yeah, living outside of India and staying connected to culture is very hard. So I think being involved is a great way to learn more about Jainism and meet other Jain youth.
so what kind of basically programs or events they have into that
Yeah, so a lot of activities involve just the community coming together in general, so that could just be social events because just like any faith or religion, I think everyone's relation to it is very personal. You know, like some people can say, "Oh, I'm not religious at all," or some people can wake up and pray every day. So I think part of it is picking and choosing what events you want to go to. There is a lot of resources that Young Janes of America put out on their website if you want to learn more about certain parts of Jainism. Um, but and then you know there's like certain like holidays during the holiday time is it's great to know other Jain people who might be fasting or participating in or you know if you want to go to the Deras or the temple, it helps to have other friends that you could go there with. It's because I think a big part of religion in general is community. And
mm-hmm.
I think more than anything, just knowing there are other people who are also vegetarian or
yeah
who also, you know, believe in nonviolence against like bugs, for example, you know, so I think it's about finding people with similar values and then making spaces to meet youth your age.
तो मोस्टली जो यंग पीपल हैं जो भी कॉलेज में हैं वो इस तरह के ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में बहुत कम इन्वॉल्वमेंट देखने को मिलता है
Mhm.
पर मुझे लग रहा है आपने तो काफी लोगों को देखा होगा आपके एज ग्रुप के जो कॉलेज से पास आउट हुए हैं और फिर इसमें इन्वॉल्व हैं या जब कॉलेज लाइफ में है तब भी उनका इन्वॉल्वमेंट रहता है तो
Mhm.
आप आपका क्या एक्सपीरियंस है मतलब हम लोगों को ऐसा लगता है कि यंग बच्चों का बहुत कम पार्टिसिपेशन है इसमें तो
Mm.
व्हाट डू यू थिंक अबाउट दैट
When you're young, like jab aap chote hai, especially
हाँ
growing up here, when you're young, it's hard to want to be anything but American.
हुँ,
right? Like, it's hard to want to learn the language or to eat the food because you go to school, all your classmates are American, but I think as you get older, you you realize like everyone I think has to realize for themselves. Like, you can have your mom or dad make
हुँ,
you go to the temple or make you say the prayers or make you eat Indian food. But once you go to college, once you realize like it's the rest of your life, I think the only real learning and interest has to come from within. It can't come from,
या
like if you force your a kid to go to like I have friends who like went to Japanese school growing up or they like went to church. I think as a kid, we don't like when we don't have choices, but when we get older and realize like we can decide how religious we want to be or how involved with our heritage we want to be, then it gives us ownership. And I think that communities like Young Janes of America, where there's other kids your age who are equally growing up in outside of India, it
या
helps. It helps because we're on the same like same experiences.
दैट्स रियली ग्रेट कि आप जैसे यंग लोग इस तरह के वॉलंटियर वर्क करते हैं, तो हमको भी इंस्पिरेशन मिलती है और हमारी जो नेक्स्ट जनरेशन है उनको भी। आप अभी कॉलेज से पास आउट हो चुके हैं, तो अभी किस तरह की लाइफ है आपकी? अभी क्या खास कर रहे हो आप?
हाँ, तो अभी मैं Chicago में I'm trying to do acting
ओह!
because, I've always enjoyed performing, always enjoyed storytelling. So this past year I have auditioned a lot and like I'm taking classes right now, improv classes.
हुँ,
So I've taken acting classes. I'm just trying to lean into the entire entertainment industry. So,
और बहुत सारी कंट्रीज़ आपने घूमी हैं।
huh.
कैसा एक्सपीरियंस रहा और कुछ खास किसी कंट्री का एक्सपीरियंस रहा हो, वो शेयर करना चाहते हैं आप?
Yeah, so I was very lucky that during university I got to study abroad in Hong Kong. Absolutely love Hong Kong. Want everyone to visit Hong Kong. Has
ओके,
such great public transportation. You know, uh it's very accessible because a lot of the signs are in Chinese characters and in English. So I highly, highly encourage if anybody has the ability to study abroad. I worked in the study abroad office after coming back from Hong Kong because I want everyone to, if they can get a global education, like it's so great and I love Hong Kong. So that's what I'll have to say.
ओके। अभी कोई प्लान्स हैं, कोई आपके किसी और कंट्री में घूमने का?
अभी तो नहीं है लेकिन देखिए
अभी यू आर टू बिज़ी राइट?
if I were, we're going to India soon. I
हुँ,
think for those of us who grew up here and only get to go to India to travel to visit our parents, I think it would be great sometime in my life to spend more time living in India so I can improve my Hindi, so I can feel more
हुँ,
connected to India. So I think actually, if there's a country I want to spend more time in, it would be India down the line.
ओके। लास्ट थिंग आई वांट टू नो इतनी बिजी लाइफ रहती है कॉलेज में राइट तो
Yeah.
हाउ यू मैनेज अदर थिंग्स लाइक वॉलंटियर वर्क यू हैव टू डू कम्युनिटी सर्विस जो आपको करनी होती है एकेडमिक्स भी आपको अच्छे से करना है और आपके जो इंटरेस्ट हैं उनको भी लेके चलना है तो हाउ यू मैनेज दीज थिंग्स
I think balance, I've heard this in an interview before. Balance is impossible, right? And it never stops. After school, that you always are going to have responsibilities. You're always going to be handling multiple things. So one, I think it comes down to like knowing your own personal work style. Also, I think maybe it comes down to seasons. Like maybe one semester in college, that's the season of studies. The next semester is your season of doing all your volunteer work. And because we can never have a 50%, 50, like we can never have a perfect balance. So part of it is also accepting that nothing's ever going to be perfect, but realize what your priorities are for that stage in your life. be very clear on what goals you want to accomplish, and then decide how you want to spend that. So I think, yeah, start from that top level, like how do I want my life to look like? And now what do I have to do every day in order to divide my life? And then also, again, take it easy, because balance is impossible. Life is hard, and it's hard. College is hard. So don't feel like you have to have it all figured out, because like we're all just trying our best, right? So I think that's what I would say.
Thank you, Saloni. It was nice chat with you, and it was really great to know about your stand-up comedy, your volunteer work for the community. So, thank you so much. Thanks for your time, and best wishes for your future projects you are going to do in acting and entertainment industry.
Okay, thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so much.